All right, Thea, you tell me when to go. Go? Okay. Here's our backyard. It's a quarter of an acre, roughly. And the shop is about 1,000 square feet. It's 24 feet wide and 42 feet deep. 12 feet high and 15 feet to the peak. From the manufacturer, it comes with just about everything. It comes with sheet metal, it comes with hardware, instructions. It doesn't come with the foundation. Got to have that set up. And you have to put in your own windows and doors. The garage door is 16 feet 2 inches by 8 feet 6 inches. So that's something I wish I knew beforehand, is just doing a more standard size garage door, because although it wasn't any more expensive, it had a really long lead time because of that size. Doors are just standard sizes. Got those at Lowe's and Home Depot or whatever. And we also added this 18-inch overhang in lieu of gutters. Gutters would be really nice, but these were actually a little easier to do. So I just picked up some extra sheet metal and I actually slid them under there, and that way the rain drops far away from the foundation. You can kind of see where the water drops. It's leaving a little bit of a groove there. So maybe someday I'll add some gravel out there so it drains a little bit better. But the soil I have, I've got kind of lucky with. It's really sandy kind of soil, so it drains pretty well as it is. It took about 3 months to totally put together because I'm working full time, and I had to just do it on the weekends mostly and at night. We also dug this trench here that you can't see right now because it's, well, you can kind of see a little bit of the remnant of it, but it goes all the way to the side where our natural gas is hooked up, and it comes underground to that yellow tube, and that's what supplies the shop with natural gas, which I will show you what it's used for on the inside. We also have electrical that comes from this pole right here, goes to that pole, comes to the house, and then it goes to my new electrical box that goes under the ground about 2 feet, comes diagonally out of the ground into the garage through that 2 or 2.5 inch conduit. We have lighting on the sides that turns on automatically at night, and our own windows. You had to install all that with the kit. So let's go ahead and check it out. Here we go. Okay, so here's the inside of the workshop. I'm going to be just talking about the frame, though, for people who are interested in just putting up the building. And I'm going to be going over the costs as well, so people can get an idea of what this kind of scope is. So here's the frame. When we put up the frame itself, the metal frame that I keep talking about from the manufacturer, it didn't come with any of the finishing materials. So you're looking at, right now you're looking at OSB plywood that's on the outside here, and that's covering the insulation, 4-inch fiberglass insulation, and that is covering the frame. So there's 2 layers there. The fiberglass insulation cost about $1,200, and that goes through all the walls. And then the OSB wood I got ripped off for, and I paid $1,600. And one of the reasons for that is because when all the wood was going crazy during like 2021 or something like that. So today that's going to actually cost you less money, the OSB, if you want to go that route. Yeah, so about $3,000 for the walls is what you're looking at. And then on top of that, we painted them, made them look a little bit nicer. We even added this beautiful checkered board pattern. Just kidding, it's not really beautiful, but just to kind of give it a little bit more appeal too. You can't really see it because it's covered up by these shelves, but take my word for it. And then some up here, let's go up here. Let's keep going up. Let's go. Oh, there we go. We're looking at the ceiling now. So we're looking at the ceiling, and underneath of this black void that you're wondering what the heck is that, there is a 1-inch thick spray foam insulation. Can't really see it. Let me try to zoom in and give you an idea. Nope, you cannot. So, well, let's see, right in there, and there. So underneath that black privacy fencing stuff, there's 1-inch thick of spray foam insulation. Now, to do this yourself for a 1,000 square foot building, it was like $1,500. It was kind of expensive, and that was because we rented a scissor lift to do it, my wife and I, and we bought the kits. The kits were like $1,000 or so, and then between all the rest of the hardware and stuff and the scissor lift rental for a week, it was about $1,500. To get it done by a professional, it was going to be like $4,000, maybe more. Actually, that was like the low end of the quote. And then we put this black privacy fencing, which I keep mentioning up here. And that's just, again, give it a little bit more appeal, My friend showed me a picture of what a workshop looked like with a black ceiling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to do that. Looks so cool. I think. Some people might think it looks dumb, but to each their own. So then we spray painted these trusses. These are like, again, this came with the frame from the manufacturer. By the way, the frame, I should say, I didn't mention earlier, it was $20,000. And that was for the sheet metal frame. It comes with all the sheet metal, comes with the tubes and all the hardware and the instructions. And then delivery was $600. So it came with all the pieces to make the trusses. You actually have to put the trusses together. Literally everything about the frame you have to put together. It just comes as beams, sticks and screws, and you put everything together. We put the trusses together, spray painted in black, and now we have a black ceiling. And people wonder, what does a black ceiling do for you? Why do you have a black ceiling? Why'd you spend all that time in doing that? Because it looks cool, like I said. And then underneath there, we have these Barina LED lights, and there's 100,000 lumens, one for everybody, and 1,000 for every square feet in the building. That's what I heard about online. I was like, that's way too much, but I'm glad we did it, because 1,000 square feet, or 1,000 lumens per square feet, you can see. I mean, come on, look at that. It's great. You can see everything. You can see stuff, underneath tables and chairs. I don't need to scramble for my phone flashlight or something else to find something. So that was good. Don't cheap out on the light. I cheaped out on a lot of things in this building, which you will see as I'm going through here. Look at another thing I cheaped out on was I didn't do a drip edge. And you can see this is water that's coming from underneath the foundation. Well, not underneath the foundation, but kind of like between where the wall on the outside meets the foundation. That overhang that I talked about really helps with that. But still have a little bit of an issue here and there. Honestly, I don't really care because it's a workshop, but if I were trying to live in here, that would be annoying. And then right here, you can see this black tube. That's the natural gas. And that goes over to there, to that natural gas heater thing, which we'll talk about in a second. But first, we're gonna get to the electrical panel. I like to go way overkill on stuff like this because this panel costs $200 and it has a ton of outlets, ton of little breaker panel outlets, and I don't think I'll ever use them all. But to go with this outlet panel versus like one half its size is like $30 difference. So it's no brainer. Go with the bigger panel, have tons of outlets. You won't ever use them all, but at least you'll have the room if you are somehow able to use them. And by the way, it's 200 amps. We did conduit for the electrical on the outside of the wall. It was a pain in the butt, as is anything you do it the first time. I didn't do the best job bending them and everywhere. And then in classic style, I sold the tube bender that I had before I was even done using it because I'm such a penny pincher. So I actually had to bend a few things by hand, and then they look even stupider. But you live and you learn. The nice thing about having the conduit, though, is if you want to add on to it later, like I said, you can do that. Let's get over here. Natural gas floor heater. So what does this experiment do? It heats up the floor with water, basically water that just flows through these tubes here. So these orange tubes are actually PEX tubing, and you see PEX tubing a lot in homes, new homes these days. You see the blue and the red usually, and that's for like just regular tap water. But here, this is not tap water. This is water mixed with ethylene glycol for your heated floors. I have 5 zones, and in common fashion, I was pinching pennies. And I went with a 5 zone, which you'd normally do for like a small, like single garage or maybe even a large bathroom. But I decided to do it for a 1,000 square foot shop. Problem with that is it wasn't quite enough of heated floor tubes. So if you're ever gonna do this, make sure you use the right number of zones so that you get a good amount of heating. Fortunately, I did opt to go with the smart choice of tankless heater, and that was natural gas. So if you're gonna do this yourself, do the natural gas for anything larger than like a bathroom or like a tiny house, because electrical heating for a tankless heater is pretty inefficient from what I've seen. It'll drive up your electrical bill versus the natural gas, just you can't beat it. Fossil fuels for the win there. And coming over here, let's talk about this fan. The fan in the wall moves air from one side to the other, as fans do. This one is 3,000 cubic feet per minute. And it will suck all the air out here in about 5 minutes, even faster than a Chicago politician. Over here, we have the office mezzanine. And basically what a mezzanine is that I've looked up a lot of definitions, like what the heck is a mezzanine? I heard that word all the time. It is a raised office that's not quite a second level. So under here, Under the mezzanine, I have some storage space. I don't want to get too much into specifics here. I said I would just talk about the frame, but there's some stuff there for the equipment. 220 volts. By the way, that's another thing to mention. If you want to do this, I would definitely do 220 volts wherever you can. If you don't know what that is, that's basically what your washer and your what's it called, clothes dryer stuff runs off of. And that basically means you can use thinner wire. The higher the voltage, the thinner the wire you can use. That saves you money there, and it also saves you money on wasted heat in the wires, and that's potentially safer too, because when your wires get hot, that's a fire hazard. So here's a ladder that goes up to the mezzanine. I made it nice and extra dangerous by putting it on wheels so that you can accidentally slip from time to time. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. It actually works just fine. The reason I did it this way with this barn door style sliding mechanism is so that you can move it out of the way and get over here. Again, I don't want to get too much into the specifics there, though. So just climb up here and look out the window like we're having an existential crisis. You can see that there's a mountain in the background. I really wanted to be able to see that. That's actually called Antelope Island. Ironically enough, they killed antelope because of chronic wasting disease. So that's pretty much the whole office here. I got a 3D printer too, just on the side. I like to keep it covered with dust because that's probably going to make it last a lot longer. And then here's the rest of the workshop. So I went into some of the costs. All in all, you're looking at, I gotta catch my breath. Hold on a second. All right, caught my breath. So all in all, you're looking at about $20,000 for the frame of this kind of a workshop. And again, I bought this in 2020, the most wonderful year in the last 100 years. And I got the kit delivered from Tennessee to Utah for about $600. Like I said, it came on a few pallets, delivered to my driveway. Each piece is really easy to move. You don't need like a crane or a forklift or anything like that. I mean, you need a forklift to get the pallets off the truck, but they did that for me. And then you can pretty much put it all up with yourself and a few buddies. I was really lucky to have my wife help me put up the frame. It was kind of precarious at times. Probably was a 3-person job that we made into 2 people. And, but we got it done. And then I had a great friend who helped me do the excavation of the foundation and paid him some money. I had to rent an excavator for that. That cost $1,200 for the excavator rental for a week. I rented some other equipment. I rented a gravel stamper, rented some, other power tools and things that I didn't want to have to buy. And then ended up buying most of this stuff off of KSL, which is like a local Craigslist. Saved money where I could, pinched pennies where I shouldn't have. But overall, we got it done in about 3 months, and we have this 1,000 square foot garage. Like I said, $20,000 for the frame, and then about probably close to $20,000 once you got everything else in here, because the insulation was expensive. Like I said, the walls were about $3,000. We rented a scissor lift. We rented an excavator. I paid $4,000 for the garage door. Some people probably laugh at me for that, but I think that was actually pretty worth it. It's just nice to be able to have a nice, quiet garage door that also has a camera, which I didn't think would be as useful as it was. Of course, you can get a camera off of Amazon for $25, so I'm quite a sucker. And then you can have heated floors. That was a little bit of extra price point. And then all the wiring, finishing materials for the stuff that goes into the walls and windows and everything. Yeah, like I said, I think $40,000. Maybe a little bit less, but I'm going to round up just so that people aren't blown away by the price if they're trying to do it themselves. And, that's the price of a new car these days or less. And if you're asking me, like, would you rather have a brand new car or a workshop that's going to last 25, 30 years that you can do, get, countless amounts of value out of? It's an easy question, easy answer for me. Anyway, really thankful to all the people that helped me put this up and just give me knowledge and advice and come over and, talk about it and when I was building it. And I want to help people in the future who also want to do this for themselves. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I'd be happy to answer them where I can. There's a lot of things in this video that I just couldn't fit into like a 15 or so minute video to talk about. So if you have any specifics, like I said, reach out to me. I do eventually want to do a video about all the stuff inside of here that's not to do with the frame and the workshop itself, but just to do with the furnishings and the actual wood shop. So look for that in the future. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.